Hi, it's Michelle and Dan with Honeymoon Always, and today we are going to react to the Google rankings and reviews of every Sandals resort. Now, we have been to all 17 within the last few years, many of them several times. So we have a lot of personal insights to add to these and maybe some context to add to why we think that these are the current rankings and reviews. And of course, one person's bad experience does not make a bad resort necessarily. So there's going to be a lot of like flavor here and there, but we hope that this gives a little bit of insight into how to kind of interpret the reviews that you might see when you're looking for the right resort for you. Now, of course, if you would like customized free support helping you pick the right resort, we are travel agents and we'd love to help you for free. Just shoot us an email to info@honeymoonalways.com, or if our videos are helpful, you can click the link in the description to book. That does tell the resorts that we helped you, and we appreciate that so much.
So we're gonna start at the bottom, which one got ranked last. Now, it's still got 4 out of 5 stars. So it's not like everybody's leaving horrible reviews. A lot of people are having a great experience, but we're gonna start there. And that one is Sandals Royal Barbados. The great reviews are usually because of the beautiful water and beautiful sand.
And I'll say, for me, if you've ever watched any of our previous ranking videos, Sandals Royal Barbados actually had my personal favorite beach of any Sandals resort. The water is warm and gorgeous and kind of calm. It felt like taking a bath. I love a bath. So it, for me, is a great beach.
Yes.
However, I think one of the reasons that it is ranking a little bit lower is because now they are seasonally starting to experience sargassum, which can really ruin people's beach experience, and it doesn't look as beautiful.
Yeah, so that happens in August. That's the peak sargassum season. So we saw some reviews from August saying, I came here for the beach and this is what I got. But also it's great because it has so many amenities. So you have Sandals Barbados and Sandals Royal Barbados right next to each other with tons of restaurants and other activities that you can do during your stay.
And we think the reason that Royal Barbados is ranking lower than Sandals Barbados is because it is the more expensive side of the resort, and people's expectations are going to fall further if they're paying more and getting not what they maybe expected.
Yeah.
Number 16 is Sandals Royal Bahamian. Now, this resort tends to lean much more of a party vibe than any other Sandals resort. So for me personally, I experienced that as not quite as, let's say, romantic or serene. A lot of people, because it's closest to the US, people come in for 3 days, 4 days. They come in, they just want to like drink and party. And that's a specific vibe, but it's super different from any of the other Sandals resorts. And I will say we went last year, and for me, it wasn't my favorite experience. It was pretty low on my favorite list of Sandals resorts. The water is insane and we really like the private island. The vibe was not quite it for me, but I will say we just went a few months ago and they've improved quite a bit of the food. They've started interjecting some of the newer restaurant ideas, and they've updated some of the vibes as well. Like the music has changed a little bit, the entertainment has changed a little bit, and that in conjunction with it being just incredible water had really improved my experience. So I wonder if this will go up the rankings eventually.
I think it will because they've also refreshed a lot of rooms. So the rooms are looking better. They also revamped the beach club a bit. And so they have better food. On the private island, there's just a better vibe over there.
Yeah.
Not that it was bad, but yeah, I really enjoyed it this last time. Number 15 is Sandals Barbados. So very similar to what we talked about with Sandals Royal Barbados. The difference this year is that they have been refreshing a lot of rooms at Sandals Barbados. And I think that's had an effect on the rankings, but also gives us hope for the future that maybe people will go and enjoy it more now that it is being refreshed. But very similar, beautiful beach, lots of restaurants, a really great resort to go to. And it's very close to the airport as well. It's about a 10-minute drive.
And one of my favorite excursions, which is snorkeling in a shipwreck, was super cool. So number 14 is Sandals Grande Antigua. So this is an older resort, and I think that does play into it just not ranking quite as high. It's not as modern of a resort, but what I will say, when we were there, the management was fantastic. The water is some of the most beautiful that we've seen. However, I don't include this resort in my rankings of like best beaches because it is the most public beach of any Sandals resort. So for me, it was fairly disruptive. There's actually a barrier to where like people in the public are allowed to come up and interact with you. So people were trying to sell us stuff a lot, which some people love. Some people really enjoy that, but for us, that's not really what we're looking for. And so if you want to not be disturbed, you actually have to go like behind a fence to like be on the beach. So even though the water is stunning and incredible, and there's some really cool excursions you can do on the island, that part of it is a little funky, but the vibes at the resort are really good.
Yeah, so it's honestly the best resort for me for cats. The best resort, or one of the best resorts for cultural experience, like getting off the resort.
Yeah.
The beach is beautiful. I like the pools.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more low key. So there's not a pool that has like a ton of music and like excitement. So some people don't like that. And the rooms are a little outdated. They're starting to refresh those. So very interesting. I really like Sandals Antigua. For me, it's the vendors that I don't like, but it's definitely not going to stop me from going there. And we were so surprised to talk to people who are like, oh, I love the vendors.
Yeah.
Like, I love chatting with the vendors.
Yeah,
And
it
I'm
really
like,
depends on what you like.
okay.
Yeah.
Go for it. In 13th place is Sandals Ochi. And this is one of my favorites. It is the largest Sandals resort, and because of that, you can get a wide range of experiences. But it is also the cheapest Sandals resort. The biggest complaint that we hear are people that don't understand before they go that there are two sides and you have to take a shuttle between them, and there's a road in between them. So, I get clients asking me like, oh, is this ocean view room similar to an ocean front room? And that ocean view room means the ocean is in the distance. So
It's far in view.
Far. And so you have to then go on a shuttle to get to the beach side. So I talk to clients and ask them, do you want to be close to the beach? Because that eliminates a lot of rooms. There's also very affordable butler suites here, which is great, but they're located on a hill far from the beach. So I really love this resort. I think when you get, there's like 17 restaurants that you can go to. I think you can have some negative experiences there, but really fun pools with a variety. There's one that's really active and lively. There's many that are way more chill.
Also, it's a really great resort for groups.
Oh, yeah.
And amongst groups, you're going to have a variety of experiences and opinions and expectations. They're doing a lot of renovations as well. Yeah. So that, I think, will adjust some things here and there. At number 12 is Sandals Regency La Toc in St. Lucia. And I'm a little surprised this is the lowest one because this was my personal favorite in St. Lucia when we went. However, it is up on a hill, which can make for some uncomfortable mobility things. We were up on the top of the hill, and so you have to kind of hike up the hill to get from where the main part of the resort is up to where the top is. Sometimes we got lucky and like an employee was taking a golf cart or something up the hill, so they would drive us up. I think that might impact things. Also, if you're expecting a beach that has a lot of water sports, this resort is actually pretty prone to yellow and red flag days. So we really like a very active beach that has that type of movement, but not everybody does. They just got a Bucan, which is a restaurant that we had at Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we love that restaurant. So I'm thinking that there's a lot of really good changes coming, but I am a little surprised to see it lowest on the list in St. Lucia. There are some rooms that are at the bottom of the hill, so if you don't want to deal with the hill situation, you don't have to, but we were up on the top of the hill.
Additionally, you can always go to the other resorts using a shuttle each day, which is cool because Sandals Regency La Toc is less expensive than the Grand St. Lucian. So you can stay there, save a little bit, and then just go up to the Grand St. Lucian 1 or 2 days of your trip and be able to enjoy the amenities there. And ranked 11th is Sandals Montego Bay. Now, this is the OG, very first Sandals resort ever, and it is right next to the airport. 30 years ago when it was built, the airport was really small, but now it is a bigger airport. So there are jets there during the day. So you hear them very loudly. Now, once again, it's one of those things where Michelle and I, we don't want that. But we talk to guests there and they're like, what? I barely even hear them anymore.
There are people who love this resort because you literally hop off the plane, 5-minute ride to the resort. You're in a pool, and the pools are like a partying good time. The beach is beautiful, and there are a lot of different room types because they've really piecemeal bought different properties to make the resort what it is. So there are people who are like loyal to Sandals Montego Bay. Those people aren't us, but
I don't know. I think it's right in the middle for me. You know?
It's probably right about correct, I'd say, in this ranking.
And I do recommend it to people who want something close to the airport, really convenient. And I was talking to a guy who goes there all the time, and he loved it because it's so convenient. There are early flights going in, so he was there for breakfast. There are late flights going out, so he even ate dinner there before he was going, so he felt like it was a huge value, and I totally get that.
Yeah. Okay, now we are in the top 10 of Google rankings for Sandals resorts, and at number 10 is Sandals Royal Caribbean. Now, this is actually just down the road from Sandals Montego Bay in Jamaica, and this placement matches, I think, our experience. Our personal preference is Sandals Royal Caribbean. It is also very close to the airport, so it's really easy and quick to get to. We personally prefer the food at Sandals Royal Caribbean, but I will say people who really want a Butch's Steakhouse are going to want to hop down the road to Sandals Montego Bay and get their Butch's Steakhouse. We also really like the private island, and it's a little bit more newly renovated, I would say. So for us, this is a little bit quieter. It's just a tiny bit further away from the airport. It's not quite as big of a party vibe, which is for us. And so I think this being ranked a little bit higher than Montego Bay is correct to me.
Especially now there are a ton of new rooms. So when we stayed there 3 years ago, we were in a basically brand new room, and now they have finished another group of brand new rooms, and then they're working on another one that should be done in the beginning of 2026. So lots of brand new rooms, great experiences. The only thing that I steer people away from is if they want a more lively vibe or if they want a long beach, because the beach is kind of like broken into 3 different areas. So it's not the best beach for a Sandals resort. Coming in number 9 is Sandals Halcyon. Now this is in St. Lucia, and of the 3, it is the quietest one. It is very quiet. Now I liked it because when you go to the pool, it's the same people, like, cause it's smaller, so you're gonna recognize people. And we did like aqua aerobics there in the morning, and then like those were our friends.
Yeah.
Like, they were like calling me over to play volleyball, you know, so that was really fun. Additionally, it is right in between the 2 other Sandals resorts in St. Lucia, so it's about 20 minutes each way to go experience a different Sandals resort. On the downside, it's just too quiet for some people, and there's only like 5 restaurants, I think. So as far as variety with food, you know, it goes down a little bit, but it gets great reviews, especially from like the UK. People go there and they'll stay 10 nights like at Sandals Halcyon.
This is definitely one of the resorts that people return to over and over again. It can really feel maybe more homey than some of the other resorts.
It kind of reminds me of like the Hawaiian resorts. Like the older Hawaiian resorts. It's got an interesting vibe.
Yeah.
We need to go back because it's been a while.
For us, when we were there, it was my least favorite of the 3 in St. Lucia. Obviously, this is subjective, and this was a moment in time. But there are a lot of reasons that this is actually some people's favorite. So
yeah.
At number 8, we have Sandals South Coast. I gotta be honest. So many people we know, so many people who go to Sandals all the time. This is their like top number 1 resort. And this is so low for me. I really it's, okay, let me, let me try to explain. It is a long drive to get down there. The resort is very large, so it's harder to navigate, and I'm kind of lazy. I prefer a physically smaller resort. I think we haven't taken quite as much advantage of the beach. It is a long, beautiful beach, and people really love that you can have your own like quiet spot on the beach. And for me, the food wasn't my personal preference. I think they're making some updates. I actually really did like the food trucks that they're putting in, and they are doing a lot of renovations. So every time someone tells me that Sandals South Coast is their favorite, I'm like, please tell me why. And I mean that genuinely, because that had not been my personal experience, but we know there are a lot of reasons that people like love this resort. So if you have feelings about Sandals South Coast, we would actually love to hear about it.
Now we've never spent more than like 3 or 4 nights there.
Yeah.
And because we're usually going there in between other Sandals resorts in Jamaica. So I think if we stayed there a bit longer, we would be better because of the motion sickness we'll have weaned off, you know, a little bit quicker. So yeah, it has like a huge beach, which a lot of people love, tons of pools. And overall, it's just very large. Another thing that I would change is we always stay at the Long Beach Village, which formerly was the French Village, and that's the furthest from the lobby. So it's like, once you're in the room, it's like so annoying if you have to go back to the lobby. So, you know, we could pick a more centrally located room, and I bet that would change our experience as well. And then it does feel different from the other resorts in that it is further from touristy areas. So like at night, you can see the stars and it's beautiful. Yeah. So it does feel like a secluded, beautiful kind of paradise vibe. You know, if we didn't deal with motion sickness, we'd probably rank it equal to this. But so many people love it.
Yeah.
They need to get a helicopter. If they can get me there in a helicopter,
yes,
then like I bet it would just go up really quick.
100%.
In number 7 is Sandals Royal Curacao. I think that fits for me, like 7th. They are one of the newer Sandals resorts, so they have the newer food concepts, and I thought the food was better there than many resorts. It is different, like it's a different vibe because it is a Dutch island. A lot of people love getting off resort there because it feels just different than any other Caribbean island, which I love. So we got great food, interesting culture, and different from the rest of the Caribbean. You know, the beach there is not a like traditional Caribbean beach that you picture. It is on an inlet, and they just like put a dock there to separate the inlet from like the beach side. So if you're looking for the best Caribbean beach, it's not there, but it's a newer, modern feel.
It is a stunning resort. Like it is objectively super beautiful. So I think if you're looking for almost like a Euro summer vibe, it's really cool for that, but it's not quite the beach situation that you usually picture with a Sandals resort.
Yeah, beautiful clear water, really great for snorkeling. And we did a private catamaran trip, which was really, really nice. You know, saw sea turtles and stuff like that.
At number 6, we have Sandals Negril in Jamaica. Now, Negril has a bomb beach. Almost every suite has water view. And so that I think makes a huge difference because everyone's gonna have like a serene morning. And if you have the ability to get, room service for breakfast or whatever, and you can just like enjoy that on your balcony, that's incredible. They've put in some newer restaurants. We really like Bravo, which is the Spanish tapas restaurant. And this has one of our favorite suites we've ever stayed in, which is the Sky Pool Suites. We spent basically all of our time in that suite. I think this is a good mix of, if you want quiet, there are corners that are quiet, and if you want a party, there are party vibes. So this is a really good combination. This one does take a little bit of time to get to, but to your point, we tend to spend like a full week there.
Yeah, and the road is better than South Coast. It's not as windy.
Yeah, so I think this is one where if you're gonna spend more time on your vacation, I think you can really have a good time there.
I like the main pool there because there's only one, and so a lot of people gravitate towards there, making it the best resort for pool volleyball.
Which is important to Dan. If you follow us on Instagram, you know he's always in the pool playing volleyball.
Yeah, so I really like that pool. And staff is great. Really good resort, especially within Jamaica. It's a little bit more on the affordable end. And like Michelle said, we stayed at one of the best suites, and it was finally when it clicked for us of why you would want to spend so much money on a great suite when it's like 3 times as much as one of the more affordable ones. I didn't really get it until we stayed there, and I was like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave this room. So a really great option for Jamaica and for any Sandals resort. And you can always go to Sandals Negril, which is about a 5-minute drive to go to dinner there if you'd like.
Yeah, they have a Peruvian restaurant that we actually really enjoy. So we like to pop over there. They also have a frozen yogurt shop over at Beaches, which I am going to start a personal petition for Sandals to start getting frozen yogurts like the Beaches resorts, because adults want frozen yogurt too. Okay.
All right, we're starting our top 5 with Sandals Grand St. Lucian. Now this has that beautiful beach with calm water that you can snorkel in that people love. It also has like a great layout. So like you walk into the lobby, it's open air, beautiful, and then it looks onto the beach, and there's a pool in the middle that is nice and happening. And then as you get further from the pool, it gets more nice and quiet along the beach, and then there's a quiet pool. So just something for everyone at this resort. But I think between the 3 resorts at St. Lucia, people love it because of the calm, clear water.
It's great for water sports. I also think that if I were going to get married in St. Lucia, this is the resort that I would pick. It's just a really more glamorous resort. I'd say it's a little bit more modern, and it has really lush greenery. You've got the overwater bungalows. And I think also because there are really good, water sports and things like that, it's really good for a group. So this is, I think, correctly ranked. It's a good resort. At number 4 is Sandals Grenada. This is actually in our personal, I'd say top 3. Yep. We'd rank this one like a tiny bit higher because this is stunning. Now, this isn't even one of the newest Sandals resorts, but it is really modern, really lush. So the greenery is really great. They have a really great beach. It's Dan's favorite for swimming. The suites are all really nice, and there's a lot of good excursions going on. The service is awesome. We thought the food was good. Like overall, we think this is a really excellent choice.
Yeah, it's a very quick drive from the airport as well. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I love it. Great layout. Yeah. The only reason it's not higher for us personally is just it's not as modern. So like the newer ones kind of kicked it down a little bit. But before that, it was our favorite. Like really love this resort.
Yeah.
In number 3, according to Google, is Sandals Royal Plantation. Now this is very high up on our list as well. Yeah. It is all butler, meaning every room gets a butler. And it's also on the more affordable end for butler suites. Every room has an ocean view, and it is just like the best service. Now with everyone having a butler and it being a small resort, your butler knows where you're at. And so you get surprised all day with like food and drinks. It is the best beach experience because it's a really nice beach, clear water, very calm. But you have beach service from the bar there, but then also your butler's keeping an eye on you. So just like if you want to chill at a beach all day, it is perfect.
Now, I think this is ranked so high because this is, I think, the one resort that people return to over and over again, and they really don't want a lot of changes. Sandals is doing some refreshing of the rooms that are happening here at this resort, but they're not doing a full overhaul because people who come to this resort really want the same experience over and over again. It has a fully different vibe, I think, from other Sandals resorts. I wouldn't give it it's not high on like the partying scale, but it is a really beautiful little resort.
Yeah, now at the same time, the only complaints we hear are people that say it's too quiet. So just keep that in mind. And the bathrooms are not being updated with the refreshes. So you might go into this room that looks really nice and you go to the bathroom and it looks like it's just outdated. So that's something to keep in mind, but you do get access to Sandals Ochi. So pretty much everyone that goes there will spend 1 or 2 nights over at Sandals Ochi for dinner. You might go over there for the big pools because Sandals Royal Plantation only has like one small pool. So it is unique. It's so unique. Like it's so different from everything else because it's so quiet, so relaxed. You're going to meet the manager at some point because there's only 74 rooms. So yeah, great vibe. Oh, there's also only one cat. And
there used to be more.
Yeah, there used to be more.
Not everyone loves cats like we do, and apparently people complained. So they're down to exactly one cat, and if you see her, say hello.
Yeah, she's great.
Now we're in top 2, and we agree with this placement. At top 2, we have one of the brand new Sandals resorts, Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is a stunning resort, and the food and the service is top notch. So there is a lot to love about this resort, and we think it is correctly placed very, very high on this list. Some things that maybe make it not number 1 for us personally, but I think also in the Google ratings, is that it is a much physically larger resort. There's not a ton of rooms, so it's not packed or anything. It's actually a little bit physically difficult to navigate, and St. Vincent can be very hot. So you basically want to grab a bicycle to get from where the pool is or where the restaurants are to where your room is. There's also not a lot of beachfront rooms when you're staying there. So people who really want that view, it's going to be a little bit harder to come by. But one thing that I think is really special is this is the only large resort on the island. They're still working with the government, like Sandals is actively working with the government to get more flights so that more people can come more comfortably to the resort. But what that means is it's not super crowded. There's not a lot of tourism going on. It's very similar in look to St. Lucia, and you can actually see the islands from each other if you take a boat out. So they're very close and very similar, and that kind of volcanic greenery is stunning. This is also going to be one of the more expensive resorts to stay at, so something to keep in mind as well.
Which brings us to the number 1 Sandals resort, according to Google and according to us, and that is Sandals Dunn's River. Now, we have been there several times, and it is just, they just are on top of it. They have great service, great food. It is on the smaller side. That is probably the only complaint I've ever heard, is that it was too small. I don't get that.
Yeah, it's great for us.
Yeah, but wonderful resort, good beach, great pools. I mean, we just love it. Great entertainment team. And the staff is just really warm. So like when we go back there, we get a great greeting. It just feels great. Whenever I call them, they're like, Dan, when are you coming back? So just great staff, great resort. I don't know what to say negative about.
I will say on a personal note, like because we feel so passionately about this being our favorite resort, we talk about it a lot, and it is where we will most often recommend people to go if they have the budget for it and if it meets what they're looking for. And so when we go to Sandals Dunn's River, this is the resort where like people will be like, hey, we've seen you on YouTube, which is a fun vibe for us. So this also adds to our enjoyment of the resort because we are just constantly, honestly recommending this resort.
It is also surrounded by great activities. So within a 15-minute drive, you can do a lot, which I do remember one con, and that is it's getting busy now. So some people are having trouble getting like beach chairs in the morning.
Oh, it's a popular resort. We're sending too many people.
We're sending too many people. Y'all got the message. And so now, honestly, like when I try to help people go, like when we're narrowing it down to the resorts, I always have St. Vincent and Dunn's River at the top, and then we start narrowing things down. Sometimes Dunn's River doesn't get the booking because they're booked out. You know, when I'm looking right now, we're filming this in November, and if I'm looking for a room in February or March, even January, some of those dates have really booked out. And I can't find the room that I want to put them in because I've got like 3 rooms that I love there that I put everyone in, and yeah, they're just not available.
Now, I will say this is where we get very specific. We stayed in a lot of the rooms, and there are some that were like, oof, that's not ideal. Like there's one where it's supposed to have like an ocean view, but it's like half of a roof. So that can be like less than ideal. We'd probably recommend the staff put you on a higher floor. Or there's rooms where like the bathroom, like if you're very specific like us, the bathroom is more or less like a see-through door. So there's not as much privacy. So this is where it gets very specific. We are very passionate about Sandals Dunn's River. But anyway, we think that the Google review here is spot on. This is our favorite too. So this has been our reactions to the Google rankings, the Google reviews of Sandals Resorts. We'd love to hear if you agree with these, or if you have any other insights, your favorite resorts, leave them in the comments below. If you would like personalized free support booking the right resort for you, getting you matched with the right one, we would love to help you for free. Shoot us an email to info@honeymoonalways.com. Or if this video has been helpful and you're ready to book right now, we're gonna leave a link in the description, and that tells Sandals that we helped you, and we appreciate that so much.